Have you ever heard of the doctrine of total depravity? It's a central idea in Calvinism, and it proposes something pretty heavy. It says that because of Adam's sin in the Garden of Eden, all humans, from the moment of conception, inherit that sin. This isn't just a small stain, it's a complete corruption of our nature. According to this view, every part of us, our minds, our wills, our emotions, is so depraved that we are morally unable to choose God or do anything genuinely good on our own. This belief historically led to the practice of infant baptism, which was seen as necessary to wash away this inherited sin. But does this idea actually hold up when we look at the Bible? Let's explore that together. Contrary to this idea of being born guilty, the New Testament offers a very different picture. The Apostle Paul, in his letter to the Romans, gives us a personal and powerful account of how sin actually enters a person's life. He writes, "I would not have known sin except through the law. For apart from the law, sin was dead. I was alive once without the law, but when the commandment came, sin revived, and I died." What is Paul saying here? He's describing a period in his own life when he was alive. This was a time of innocence, before he understood God's law. He wasn't born dead in sin, he was alive, spiritually speaking. Sin only became a reality for him at Revived, or came to life when he became aware of God's commandments and his personal responsibility to follow them. Before that point, he was spiritually immature, not yet accountable for his actions. This concept is crucial. Paul wasn't saying that sin existed in him, went away, and then came back. That wouldn't make any sense. Instead, he's explaining that before he understood the law, sin was dormant, not imputed to him. As he says elsewhere in Romans, where there is no law, there is no transgression. For a young child, the primary law is the guidance of their parents. While a child might do something wrong, like tell a fib, they haven't reached the level of spiritual and mental maturity to be held accountable by God for breaking his divine law. There's a point in every person's life, often called the age of accountability, where they develop the capacity to understand right from wrong in God's eyes. It's at that point that they become responsible for their choices. Before that, they are in a state of innocence. Just as Paul described himself as being alive once without the law. Now, let's think about the implications of the total depravity doctrine. If we are born with spirits already stained by sin, what does that say about God who creates us? It would almost seem to paint a picture of an unjust God who creates beings in a state of condemnation from the very start. But the Bible presents a completely different portrait of our Creator. Solomon, in Ecclesiastes, states that when we die, the spirit will return to God who gave it. This tells us our spirits originate from God. The prophet Zechariah is even more direct, describing the Lord as the one who forms the spirit of man within him. This formation happens at the very beginning of life, at conception. This direct link to God is a powerful theme. When Paul spoke to the philosophers in Athens, he made a profound statement: "In him we live and move and have our being." Jesus himself held up children as the model of innocence and faith, saying, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." If this message resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content exploring the truths of the Bible. See you next time.